Welcome to the deep dive. We're plunging into a stack of sources you've shared with us today. They all seem to circle this really big question: what makes a life long, but also, happy and purposeful? We're looking at some fascinating material here, delving into Japanese wisdom, especially this concept called Ikigai, often described as, well, a bit mysterious, right? A key to a meaningful life.
That's right. And this deep dive, it's really about cutting through all the noise. We want to pull out the most potent insights from these sources. We'll be drawing on Japanese philosophy, sure, but also Western psychology, and some really practical daily habits, trying to build a picture of what actually contributes to a life well lived.
Like a shortcut to understanding the core ideas. Okay, so our mission today: explore these different threads, finding your reason for being that ikigai thing, the power of getting completely lost in a task flow, they call it. Those essential daily habits: what you eat, how you move your body, how to build strength, resilience for life's challenges, and maybe some timeless wisdom from people who've, well, lived really long, vibrant lives. Ready to unpack this?
Absolutely. So at the heart of it is Ikigai. It's often shown as that Venn diagram, what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can get paid for. But these sources, they present it more fundamentally. It's your reason for getting up in the morning. It links passion, purpose, and ultimately longevity.
And it's fascinating how they connect this very Japanese idea to Western psychology, specifically Viktor Frankl's logotherapy. Frankl, who helped people find meaning, often in really, really tough situations. Why is his perspective highlighted here?
Well, because Frankl, partly through his own, incredibly difficult experiences, he saw that our psychological health doesn't depend on just being relaxed, tension-free. It depends on what he called a natural tension, a tension between what you have achieved and what you still aspire to achieve.
Ah, okay.
It's not just about being comfortable, it's about having a challenge, something to strive for that really engages you. That's the crucial point here.
So a challenge isn't a burden, it's actually necessary. That kind of flips the script on what many people might think they need for happiness. And the sources contrast this healthy tension with what they're calling existential crisis, which they say is pretty common in modern societies.
Exactly. The suggestion is when people just do what's expected instead of what they truly want to do, that necessary tension just disappears. And they try to fill that void, that lack of purpose, with external stuff, seeking power or constant fleeting pleasures, maybe even numbing their senses, which, well, that can lead to deep unhappiness.
Frankl's case studies, they really bring this home, don't they? There's the American diplomat, miserable in his job. Frankl helped him see the issue wasn't some deep family thing. It was just he needed a different career. He left therapy with that clarity. Simple, almost.
Then you have the suicidal mother. She felt her life was over. Frankl asked her to imagine looking back from her deathbed, and she realized she devoted everything to giving her paralyzed son the best life possible. Her life had meaning because of that immense love and sacrifice. It gave her, perspective, peace.
And that story about the doctor grieving his wife, Frankl asked, what if you had died first? And the doctor immediately saw the suffering she would have endured. Frankl pointed out, you see, you spared her all that. Your suffering now is the price. It reframed his grief, not just loss, but the cost of a profound act of love. These stories really underline how fundamental finding purpose is.
They really do. And this search for meaning, this engagement with challenges, it ties directly into another powerful idea in these sources, the state of flow.
Ah, flow. Csikszentmihalyi's concept. Tell us about that feeling. What is flow?
It's that state of just total absorption. You're so focused on what you're doing, you lose track of time, your ego kind of fades away, your mind feels completely united with the action. The skiing analogy in the sources is perfect. You're just in the movement, in the snow. Nothing else exists for that moment.
That intense focus leading to an optimal experience, as they call it. So the sources suggest flow is a key ingredient for happiness, for living your ikigai. Different from just seeking passive pleasure, like watching TV.
Right. It's about active engagement leading to satisfaction, not just fleeting enjoyment.
And Csikszentmihalyi found it's universal, didn't he?
Completely. Doesn't matter if you're an executive in New York or, a farmer in Okinawa. The experience of flow is the same when the conditions are right.
So how do we create those conditions? The sources drawing on Owen Schafer's research give some practical strategies.
Right. Okay, first, it starts with clarity. Knowing what you're trying to do, how to do it, getting feedback on how well you're doing, and knowing where to go next, especially if it's like a navigation text.
Okay, basic clarity. But then it gets interesting. The balance between challenge and skill, that seems crucial.
Exactly. This is absolutely key. You need to perceive significant challenges, but also feel you have significant skills to meet them. If the challenge is too low for your skill level, boredom sets in. If it's way too high, that's anxiety territory. Flow happens in that sweet spot, slightly outside your comfort zone, where your skills are really being stretched and engaged. The quantum mechanics book example they use is great for illustrating this.
That sweet spot. Got it. And having a clear, concrete objective helps too, like the goals you get in video games or sports.
Yes, definitely. And the sources point out this is often missing in, say, corporate settings. People feel lost if the overall mission isn't clear. It's like having a map, but no destination. Which brings in Joy Ito's idea of compass over maps. In a world that changes fast, a clear direction, a compass heading, is more valuable than a rigid plan, a map that might be outdated tomorrow.
A compass to guide you. Okay, but here's a twist I found interesting. Once that objective is clear, the advice is to sort of leave it behind, focus entirely on the process, on getting down to business to actually enter flow.
Precisely. Think of an Olympic athlete. They're focusing purely on executing the race, every movement, not fixating on the medal itself during the event. Or a writer facing a block. The key is to focus just on writing that first word, that first sentence, not the overwhelming task of the finished novel. It's about deep engagement with the doing.
Yeah, you really can't do that if you're constantly being pulled away, right? So freedom from distractions seems, well, non-negotiable for flow.
Absolutely. This is where managing technology becomes essential. Without some discipline, the internet, notifications, they just fragment your attention. They destroy the possibility of that deep focus.
That multitasking study mentioned is pretty eye-opening here. It found students who regularly multitasked were actually more distracted by irrelevant things than the focused students. Multitasking isn't efficient at all. The sources say it drops productivity by, 60%? Harms retention, increases errors, causes stress.
Whereas flow is the antidote. It boosts productivity, improves retention, brings a sense of calm, makes you feel in control. The advantages versus disadvantages couldn't be clearer, really.
The sources also dig into how flow seems, deeply embedded in Japanese culture, citing examples like takumis, master artisans, engineers, even otakus.
Yeah, there seems to be a cultural value placed on deeply applying yourself. The word ganbaru, which means something like to persevere by doing your best, it captures this intensity, this attention to detail. You see it everywhere, from mastering a complex craft to, working diligently in a convenience store.
The story of the Kumano brushmaker really illustrates this. That focused environment, the specialized, repetitive task done with such care.
And this idea of sophisticated simplicity comes up, finding meaningful challenge, even in tasks that seem simple on the surface. That connects directly to flow. The documentary Jiro Dreams of Sushi is probably the ultimate example here. Jiro and his son's lifelong dedication. The apprentice practicing the egg omelet, the tamago, for years.
Right.
They find pleasure in the work itself, they lose track of time, and they create an environment, that small, quiet restaurant that's totally conducive to flow.
That level of dedication is just incredible. And the sources connect this to a Japanese cultural idea, right? Unity with the object being created. The artist and the clay, the iron worker and the metal.
Yes, and even the Shinto belief in kami, a spirit residing in nature and objects. It's about harmony, seeing humans with nature and technology, not somehow separate or against them.
And flow isn't just for these grand pursuits, is it? There's microflow.
Exactly. Finding satisfaction and engagement in everyday tasks. The Tokyo elevator operator example is perfect smiling, enthusiastic after years on the job, bringing conscious attention and, dare I say, enjoyment to the mundane.
So how do you get better at finding flow? Meditation is suggested as one way.
Yes, it's presented as a kind of antidote to distraction. It trains your mind to observe thoughts and emotions without getting carried away. That ability to focus your attention, that's key for flow.
And rituals seem to play a role, particularly in Japanese workplaces.
Right. Not just rules, but rituals. They help people focus on the process, the how you work, rather than getting stressed about goals that might be unclear or far off. It creates a framework for focus.
So the core takeaway seems to be, the happiest people find ways to spend more time in that state of flow. So for you listening, maybe the challenge is to identify activities in your own life where you experience flow. What do they have in common? Are they solo, social, physical, mental? Worth thinking about.
Definitely. Okay, so moving from the mind and engagement, let's look at the practical pillars of longevity highlighted in these sources, drawing a lot from places like Okinawa, that famous blue zone.
First up, diet. And that famous phrase, harahachibu.
Ah, yes, the 80% secret. It's ancient wisdom, really. Fill your belly to 80%. The idea is simple but profound. Stop eating before you feel completely full.
And the benefit?
It significantly reduces the strain on your digestive system, and it lowers cellular oxidation, which is a key factor in aging.
Sounds easy, but it takes conscious effort. So applying it means what? Recognizing that point where you start feeling full and just stopping there, skipping the extra side or dessert.
Exactly that. And the traditional Japanese way of eating helps. Small plates, serving everything at once. It encourages variety and naturally helps control portion sizes. Makes it harder to overeat without thinking.
Antioxidants are also a big focus. Green tea gets a lot of attention for its polyphenols. Protection against aging, help with cholesterol, blood sugar, circulation, even defense against the flu, bone loss, UV damage.
It's packed with benefits. And the sources even point to white tea as potentially more potent, claiming it has maybe the highest antioxidant power globally. 1 cup, like a dozen glasses of orange juice, apparently.
Wow, okay. And they list common Western antioxidant foods, too.
Oh, yeah. Things like broccoli, charred, oily fish salmon, sardines, citrus fruits, strawberries, apricots, lots of berries, dried fruits, grains like oats, olive oil, and even moderate red wine makes the list.
Good to know. Okay, beyond diet, movement is presented as equally critical. They invoke the classic saying, mens sana in corpore sano.
A sound mind and a sound body, they're completely linked. You can't really separate them.
And there's a stark warning about being sedentary. Metabolism slows way down after just 30 minutes of sitting.
Dramatically. Enzymes that clear fat almost shut down. Good cholesterol levels drop after a couple of hours. Just getting up for 5 minutes now and then makes a real difference.
There's that powerful quote they included. Sitting is the new smoking. Really highlights the risks.
It does. It's a serious issue for modern lifestyles.
So the practical tips are simple things. Daily walk, maybe 20 minutes. Take the stairs. Find social activities that involve moving, not just sitting around watching TV.
Exactly. Make movement a natural part of your day. Not necessarily a huge scheduled workout, though that helps too. And Eastern disciplines get mentioned as ways to integrate mind and body. Yoga, specifically the sun salutation sequence. Qigong, with gentle movements like the earth posture they describe. Tai Chi, Shiatsu.
Is the common thread there?
They all combine deliberate movement with awareness of the breath, bringing consciousness back into the body, moving with intention.
It's not just about physical health either. An active mind is just as crucial, right? The sources cite neuroscientist Shlomo Brzezinets.
Right. His point is the brain needs stimulation. We tend to stick to routines, which is efficient, but it puts the brain on autopilot. Actively breaking habits, learning new things, confronting the brain with novelty, that's what revitalizes neurons and builds new connections, keeps the mind flexible.
So mental training, like learning a new skill. It feels hard at first, but then it gets easier. And the sources say this boosts mood and self-image too.
Yes, and simple things count. Interacting with other people, playing games, navigating new situations, just learning something new every day. These are all highlighted as essential anti-aging strategies for the mind, slowing down that neuron deterioration.
And having a positive outlook apparently yields greater mental benefits as well. It's not just about the activity itself.
That comes up repeatedly. Attitude matters. And there's that wonderful piece of wisdom from the Okinawan centenarians about keeping your fingers busy for mental sharpness. From your fingers to your brain and back again.
I love that. Like gardening, crafting, playing an instrument, that manual dexterity is linked to cognitive health.
And insights from older artists reinforce this. Ellsworth Kelly saying he saw more with age. Frank Gehry emphasizing staying curious, staying in your time.
And that T.H. White quote is beautiful. Learning is the one thing the mind can never exhaust, never be tortured by, never fear, never regret.
It's so true. Okay, so building on physical and mental health, the sources pivot to inner strength, resilience, and something called anti-fragility. Resilience first, defined simply as the ability to deal with setbacks, to persevere. The Japanese proverb captures it. Nanakorobi ya oki. Fall 7 times, rise 8.
It's not just bouncing back, though, is it? It's also an outlook, focusing on what's important, managing difficult emotions without getting, consumed by them.
Exactly. And the sources explore this through ancient philosophies, drawing parallels between Buddhism and Stoicism. Both aim to temper the ego, control desires, manage emotions not by suppressing them, but by understanding them. They're practical methods for cultivating well-being.
So Stoicism, for instance, it teaches enjoying pleasures but not becoming dependent on them, aiming for tranquility, apatheia.
Right. Not an absence of feeling, but an absence of those destructive negative emotions and the presence of positive ones, like calm and joy. They used practices like negative visualization, imagining the worst-case scenario, Not to be morbid, but to prepare yourself and appreciate what you currently have. Seneca would practice living without his luxuries, just to remind himself he could.
And that core Stoic principle, knowing what you can control versus what you can't. Your reactions, your thoughts controllable, external events not so much. Epictetus' quote is key here. It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters.
Exactly. And Buddhism offers tools like meditation to observe thoughts and emotions without getting swept away, training the mind against things like anger, jealousy, the Om Mani Padme Hum mantra is mentioned, its elements purifying different negative emotions.
And both philosophies share this core teaching about impermanence, don't they? Everything changes, everything we have, everyone we love, eventually gone.
Yes. Marcus Aurelius used the analogy of a leaf falling. Everything's part of a cycle. Seneca noted how short-lived human things are. The power isn't meant to make you sad, though. It's meant to deepen your appreciation for the present moment, for the people in it, precisely because this moment won't come again.
Which brings us neatly to two related Japanese concepts, wabi-sabi and ichigo-ichi.
Right. Wabi-sabi is about finding beauty in things that are fleeting, changeable, imperfect. Think of a favorite old teacup with a slight crack, or the beauty of weathered wood. It reflects the natural world's cycles. It's different from the Western drive for perfection and permanence. Japanese architecture often embraces this wood structures, the ice rine being rebuilt every 20 years. It accepts impermanence.
Finding beauty in the authentic, the transient, okay? And ichigo-ichi.
That translates roughly to, this moment exists only now and won't come again. It's a powerful reminder used in tea ceremonies, Zen, martial arts. Treat every encounter, every action as unique and unrepeatable. Be fully present, right here, right now. Don't get lost worrying about the past or the future.
So, wabi-sabi helps us accept and find beauty in imperfection and change, while ichigo-ichi calls us to fully inhabit and cherish each unique moment. Powerful ideas.
And then the sources take us beyond resilience with Nassim Nicholas Taleb's concept, anti-fragility.
Okay, resilience is bouncing back, staying the same. Anti-fragility is different.
Yes, it's about things that actually get stronger when they're harmed or put under stress, up to a point, like the Hydro legend, cut off one head to grow back. It's beyond just resisting shocks.
So how can we become more anti-fragile in our daily lives? The sources offer some steps.
Based on Taleb's ideas, yes.
Yeah.
Step 1, create redundancies. Don't rely on a single point of failure. Have multiple income streams, maybe. The centenarians in Okinawa often had a garden or a side craft. Cultivate diverse interests, strong friendships beyond just one core relationship. Basically, prepare for the unexpected by not having all your eggs in one basket.
Makes sense. Diversify. What's step 2?
Bet conservatively in some areas, but take lots of small risks in others. The finance example they give is good. Keep most of your money safe, say $9K. But take $1K and invest small amounts like $100 each in 10 different startups or high-potential ventures. You're looking for opportunities with big potential upsides, but limited downsides. Failure in one small bet doesn't wipe you out.
Minimize catastrophic risk while allowing for growth through small exposures. Okay. And step 3.
Actively get rid of things that make you fragile. This is about good riddance goals. Stop bad habits, snacking, debt. Remove toxic people or draining obligations from your life. Limit things that make you vulnerable, like maybe excessive social media use.
Shedding the things that weaken you or drain your energy. So the core idea here is that adversity isn't just something to survive, it's actually an opportunity to grow stronger. An anti-fragile attitude helps you learn and adapt from challenges, refine your life, stay focused on your Ikigai.
Exactly. Which brings us perfectly to the final section. Drawing wisdom directly from those centenarians interviewed in Okinawa, Japan. That blue zone. What are their secrets, distilled from their lives?
Well, their shared habits are wonderfully simple, aren't they? Strong social connection seems absolutely paramount. They have these moai groups like a second family, a really rich community life. That story of the birthday party where the youngest person was 83 and they were all dancing.
Yeah.
It just paints such a vivid picture of connection.
And staying busy, active, every single day. Their mantra is basically, if you don't work, your body breaks down. They do lots of different things, stay occupied, but focus on one thing at a time. No frantic multitasking.
Daily rituals, too. Simple habits like waking up early, doing basic exercises like just lifting their arms, daily walks, getting enough sleep. But importantly, not too much sleep. That was interesting.
Balance in everything. Their diet reflects harahachi bu stopping at 80% full. And they value variety, eating a bit of everything, not restrictive.
And that wisdom about keeping fingers busy for mental sharpness comes up again, from your fingers to your brain and back again. that tangible link.
Optimism and enjoyment are clearly huge factors. They smile a lot, have a cheerful attitude, appreciate the little things. One person is quoted as saying something like, "Food won't help you live longer. The secret is smiling." They seem to embrace each season, greet the day with positive intentions, like today will be full of health and energy.
And that sense of usefulness, contributing to their community through volunteer work or local groups. It seems essential to their sense of purpose, their ikigai.
The Okinawan concept of mabui is briefly touched on too. This idea of an essence, a spirit, a life force, suggests a deeper, perhaps spiritual connection to life itself.
The epilogue in the source material really pulls it all together, summarizing those core Ikigai principles observed. Stay active, never really retire, take life slowly, leave urgency behind, don't stuff yourself that 80% rule again, surround yourself with good friends, the best medicine.
Keep your body moving, daily maintenance and happy hormones. Smile, be cheerful, reconnect with nature, give thanks daily for everything, really. And crucially, live in the moment. Stop regretting the past or fearing the future. Make today count.
Mitsuo Iida's haikus, featured in the sources, capture some of this beautifully. Here now, happiness is always determined by your heart. Keep going, don't change your path. Simple, but profound.
Pursuing your ikigai, finding that meaning, it seems to lead you naturally towards that state of flow. Whether you're a calligrapher, a chef, a gardener, or, yes, even an elevator operator, it's about finding deep engagement in the life you are living, whatever that looks like.
It really feels like the sources, taken together, point towards a life that isn't about chasing external validation or constant comfort.
No, it seems to be about finding purpose within, engaging deeply with the world around you, cultivating those simple, healthy habits, building inner strength, and embracing both the beauty and the impermanence of each moment.
What an exploration this has been, just drawing from the sources you shared with us. From Ikigai and Logotherapy through flow, the practical pillars of health, building strength with resilience and anti-fragility, wabi-sabi, ichigo ichii, right up to the wisdom from Ogimi.
And hopefully this deep dive has given you, the listener, a useful shortcut to understanding these interconnected ideas based purely on the material provided.
So maybe a final thought for you to carry forward from this deep dive. What's one small, maybe imperfect daily action you could take starting today? Something to cultivate a bit more flow, or to more fully appreciate the uniqueness of this present moment. Or perhaps something to prepare yourself just a little to grow stronger from whatever challenges might come your way. Think about making each moment, as Ichigo Ichi suggests, truly unique and worth remembering, guided by that quiet pull of your own ikigai.